Well, I got this report today. Just read it for the first time. Contaminants detected in my Dallas water. According to the EWG's health guideline, I actually have 202 times more arsenic in water. And that's the potential effect of that, I guess, is what they call cancer. Chloroform, 6.5 times more than I need. I have 173 times more haloacetic acid. Now, these made this sound like, mindless or harmless chemicals to you, but I'm going to tell you something. When you get a report like that, you see what's actually in your drinking water and then realize, well, maybe they're going to kill it all with chlorine or something. Well, this is what I've got today. I'm now revising my whole water system at home. I want you to do the same thing. Go to lancewallnau.com/water, and you can see how this system that I'm working on now, it's actually the Sentry H2O system, is going to change that. I'm going to cover that today because you're drinking water that has all kinds of chemicals and pharmaceuticals in it that you have no idea are there. Use code Lance, save 10%, lancewallnau.com/water. But I'm going to begin the day the way it ought to begin with Psalm 21. O Lord, in your strength the king will be glad, and in your salvation how greatly he will rejoice. You have given him his heart's desire. You have not withheld the request of his lips. For you meet him with the blessings of good things. You set a crown of gold on his head. He asked life of you, and you gave it to him, length of days, even forever. Now let's look at this psalm just for a moment and see the superior life of somebody like David, who is writing this psalm, and how God actually is the perfect companion for life. First of all, it says, you've given the king his heart's desire. You've not withheld the request of his lips. Has it occurred to you that the Bible says, whatsoever things you desire when you pray, believe that you receive them and you shall have them? See, one of the mysteries in the Bible is that as we learn to yield up our will to the will of God, God's will starts to actually come into our heart. It's an interesting process. The reason why you get the desires of your heart manifest is because God starts to drop his desires into your heart. You could say you're praying the prayer he wants you to pray and seeking the thing he wants you to seek, because the more you become yielded to the will of God, the more you want what God wills. So literally, David is saying, you've given me the desire of my heart and not withheld what I requested with that desire. For you meet him with the blessings of good things. You set a crown of fine gold on his head. I remember years ago, I got a prophecy from Kim Clement. It's in my young years, and I traveled with him, and I think there was a lot of people that were jealous. And they would look at me and go, who is that guy? Who is he? And they would speak about me behind my back. And sometimes they'd say stuff to him. I know that because he would have to defend why he hung out with second stringers when he could have been running with A-list well-known preachers of his time. And it came to a clarity point for me when he was at Bob Cather's church in California. And I think it's in Northampton was where his church was, around there. And he said, Lance, they say that the crown is made of plastic, but I say it is made of fine gold. Well, they said it was plastic, but it ended up being a fine gold. Now, as it ended up, eventually, my detractors and my critics, well, I don't hear much about them. But the crown of fine gold ended up being proven only by sheer time and perseverance. So some of you might be criticized at this point as a pretender. Who do you think you are? And they will accuse you. But you cannot let the accusations of others deter you from what you're called to do. Because David says he himself was accused falsely and ended up proving that he was the real deal. And he prays this prayer. He says, this king asked life, and you gave him length of days forever. What is length of days forever, by the way? It's called eternal life. I don't know about you. It's mind-blowing. To live forever. The idea of a uninterrupted existence in eternity is scary. Scary as hell, because hell is where the uninterrupted existence of people goes. Can you imagine I read a sermon by Charles Finney once. I'll never forget it. Every moment you're aware of the fact that it will never end. At least in this life, there's this sense of ending. In that life, it goes on forever. It goes on forever in heaven or hell. You could say eternal life is the lot of all immortal souls. The question is, do you go on forever in torment, or do you go on forever in paradise? It's beyond comprehension. What is at stake in the decision of the soul regarding human existence? The fact that I think about this all the time. When life is so short, when someone in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, boom, and they're gone. And it's like, well, wait a second. Length of days forever. Length of days forever. It's never ending. His glory is great through your salvation. Splendor and majesty you place upon him. For you make him most blessed forever. Everywhere you see the word forever, stop and think. It never ends. You make him joyful with gladness in your presence forever. But then it gets very practical. I remember this prayer of David. I used to pray it even when I was in corporations and business, because there's always people after you. There's people that are saboteurs. There are people, like I said, that are envious of whatever you've got. David said this, the king trusts in the Lord, for through the loving kindness of the Most High, he will not be shaken. Your hand will find out all your enemies. Your right hand will find out those who hate you. I pray for you right now that God will give you the discerning of spirits, the ability to be able to know who is in reach of you, who is not trustworthy, who has access to your finances, who has access to your family, who has access to your thoughts, who has access to your private life. Finding out all your enemies, your right hand will find out those who hate you. It'll discover who they are. The difference between Donald Trump's first term and second. 100% different in so many ways. And one of them is he only was in Washington 3 times in his life before he became president. He admitted it. I've only been there 3 times. Now, the second time, he had an opportunity to think through who was loyal, who was faithful, who showed up. From 2020, right after January 6th, when everybody wrote him off as being a pariah, as being destined for the dustbin of history. And then with his 4, showings in court, with all the indictments against him and the rape charges, his friends that stayed with him, he took note of them. And by the way, he took note of those that backed up from him also. His right hand found out those who hate him. Now he has a team that is 100% loyal. So when kings, they have a lot in common with leaders and rulers. I often think Trump would get a lot of comfort out of reading Psalms. For though they intended evil against you and devised a plot, David says in verse 11, they will not succeed. You can pray this over people. You can pray this right now. Though they intended evil against you and devised a plot, they will not succeed. For you will make them turn their back. You will aim with your bowstrings at their faces. Be exalted, O Lord, in your strength. We will sing and praise your power. It's kind of interesting how David ends up starting off with God exposing the plots of his enemies, but ends it with a song. He ends it with praise. He ends it with power. Be exalted, Lord, in your strength. We will sing and praise your power. Psalm 21 wasn't written for me to read. It was written for me to sing. It was for the choir director. It's a psalm of David for the choir. May he grant you your heart's desire, Psalm 20 says, and fulfill all your counsel. We will sing for joy over your victory when the Lord fulfills all your petitions. It's like God is saying, I want to hear your voice. I want to be real enough to hear you so that you call to me, and I will fulfill that which is coming from your heart. Length of days, a long life, and eternal life. And your hand will find out all your enemies. Do you have thoughts? Do you have desires? Do you have certain temptations that are working their way into your life that are going to be enemies to you, saboteurs to your destiny? Well, God's going to find them out. He'll show them to you. He'll point it out. I pray for all of us right now, Lord, that you will show us your path, that you will reveal to everyone watching me right now the direction we're called to go in, and that you will also show us any detours, any subtle seductions and deviations from your path, that we can walk directly in the place that you're taking us. Now, I know in my next segment, I know what's coming up in a minute, and I want to say this. Jesus said, I am the living water. It's funny how in the Bible, the fundamental things in life become so real. Bread, water. But this water of life thing is kind of interesting, because as we get down to the simplicity of what it takes to really live in life, I think we're going to find that air, sunshine, exercise, oxygen, it's kind of funny. We get so sophisticated. It's the basic things. It's eating right. It's thinking right. It's being around healthy people. I read one statistic, which was after you go through all the data, longevity comes to people that have the right attitude, people that learn how to laugh, people who learn how to not take, in other words, neurotic, anxiety, hand-wringing, fear. It actually, you could be working out all day, and if your emotional, mental state isn't buoyant, that's going to be what gets you. So in our next segment, we're going to be talking about the water, literally, of life. And you're going to be able to keep up with us. By the way, you can go to lancewallnau.com/water as we're about to go into that segment, because when you use the code I'm going to give you, you can save 10% off of all of what we're about to talk about. But I find this one of the most practical and enlightening subjects in the world. Most of your body weight is water. Fasting with water, and fasting, like we're going to be talking about in upcoming shows, can actually extend your life remarkably. So we'll be right back after this break.
Clean, safe water. It's the foundation of a healthy home, but hidden contaminants could be putting your family at risk. That's why there's Sentry H2O, the smarter way to protect what matters most. It filters out what doesn't belong and restores what your body needs. Pure, mineral-rich water that tastes as fresh as it is clean. Because your family deserves more than just clean, they deserve water that supports their health. Go to lancewallnau.com/water and use code LANCE to save 10% on your water wellness system. That's lancewallnau.com/water, code LANCE.
In the keeping with the Making America Healthy Again movement, Chelsea has introduced me to more traumatizing facts regarding what I'm ingesting. You know what? Used to be you go out and get some sun when you were a kid. Now Annabelle's slathering all this cancer protection cream on me. Then I try to, drink water, and, I've got a water filter, Brita, and all that stuff. And Chelsea's going, hey, I did a water report. Oh, okay, in my zip code. Get this. I find out now I've got 202 times the level of arsenic that's permitted by the health guideline, 40 times the bromodichloromethane, and chloroform, 6.5 to 173 times more haloacetic acids. I have no idea what these are. All I can tell you is when you see you've got 45 times more total trihalomethanes, you don't want to be drinking them. And this is a report on my zip code. So I'm calling the doctor, the water doctor, Nelson McElveen. And you've got to help me, Nelson. Are you there? There he is.
I'm here.
All right, look,
Hey.
I talked to you a week ago, and I started doing more research. on the chemicals that are in the drinking water, and that says nothing about the other stuff that is getting in. And now, so does this surprise you when you hear a report like this? Is this, I mean, you're in the business for a reason. I mean, arsenic?
Oh yeah, arsenic's in all the water. Yeah, we actually went after pulling the arsenic out of the water. That was one of the major things that are in your water, okay? And they have special ways that government wants you to take the arsenic out of the water. But what we figured out is very simple. You change the pH in the water and everything falls out of the water. That's how simple it is.
You change the pH in the water. All right, now I'm going to ask you a question. I've been wanting to ask people. I hear about reverse osmosis systems, and I hate to say it, I don't think most people even know what a reverse osmosis is. What is that?
Dead water.
Huh?
It's dead water. When you run through a reverse osmosis system, you run everything through a membrane tube. They strip the good and the bad out of the water. It's dead. It's what's in bottled water. It's what's in every water that the federal government mandates you drink. Dead water. That's why women now have to revert to Botox to get the lines and the wrinkles out of their face. They're not hydrated anymore. That's how bad it is.
Wow. Okay. So, all right. So now this may sound like a dumb question, but so water can be so purified that it's dead and it doesn't bring any life-giving. So hydration. What is hydration?
Magnesium and calcium. That's hydration. You want to be hydrated, right? So we go one step further. We throw oxygen into the mix. So we create oxygen with a product called CT resin. So when the freeboards, it floats, and when the scale goes past it, negative and positive ions will make an oxygen bubble around it, and we create an oxygen bubble now that is above and beyond what's in the water. And that helps hydrate you. That's what goes in your gut. That's what goes in and starts attacking. They say oxygen and cancer can't live in the same place. So that's what we provide. Then we take it to a pH of 9, alkaline water. Alkaline water destroys acid that creates cancer. But you need that magnesium, calcium to get your body happy. It has to have that. Otherwise, it's not happy. It gets all upset.
Okay, so magnesium and calcium. I'm learning and I'm taking notes now. And the alkaline, you're saying at a 9, it's a high level.
The alkalinity in the water is where you want to be. And the government and people will tell you that 9.0 is too high. Just like what you said, Lance. That made a whole lot of sense to me. But what they're not telling you is that's what goes after the acid in your body. I've been drinking it now for 8 years. And I'm the guy that goes to the doctor, and the doctor just shakes his head and says, at your age, you ain't taking any pills, something's wrong. So you got to kick that, you got to think about that.
All right. So bottled water is a $300 billion industry. Everybody knows, I think by now, that you don't want to be drinking it out of the tap. We got that. But you're saying that actually the tap can be going through a process, but you've got the technology in a house. Yep. So we could go, we're not, and then I'm looking at all these different bottles, and this is like messed up water. And then my wife is giving me ratings on all the bottled water. I say, oh, forget it. So we're looking now at something we could put on the house. What do you recommend can be done for the average person that's got, right, like I'm traumatized here with my discovery of what's coming through my water?
No, this is awesome because we can fix it. This isn't something that can't be fixed, all right? So your house wants to be healthy, does it not? You don't want your house to be unhealthy. And here's what's a problem. We put a tank on your house. It's a simple tank, and it's a stacker. It only takes about 8 inches of space in your home. Goes on your main water line before your hot water tank. And we go in and we scrub out your hot water tank, or if you have an on-demand hot water tank, we keep it clean. We'll get all the scale out of your hot water tank within 6 months. Now, what does that mean? Your hot water tank will last longer because the scale buildup is what kills hot water tanks, rots them out. Then your wash machine, you end up with mold and fungus in your wash machine. We scrub that out with the oxygen bubbles. All this is done with oxygen. We move scale in major corporations with our oxygen, you see? So that's what we do to remove the dirty water that is kind of messing up the scales mess up your home. How you like your dishwasher to be, let's say, spot-free? So when you pull your glasses out, there's no water spots on them. That's when we use our house system. Your shower, every faucet in your home is what we call potable water, which is drinking water. Nothing wrong with it. And then we have the under the sink POV that we use to boost your pH, to get the magnesium, calcium boosted for you. All that's done underneath the sink. So that's where you do your cooking and your drinking water from. You'd hook that up to your refrigerator, okay? So now your ice cubes are made out of mineralized water. And that's the difference. So what I'm saying is, if you guys want to, how about this? You take a shower. You take in 1 pint of water when you shower. Do you want me taking a pint of salt water, which is when you use a reverse osmosis salt system? Or do you want to take in a pint of oxygenated water that is poison-free? There's no toxins in it at all. Now, you're hydrating yourself from the inside out. And your skin gets soft and your hair gets soft right off the bat.
So you're saying this, but I've got a living test case right here. So Chelsea, are you doing the shower thing with your hair and with this too?
Yes, I have the shower filter and I love it. The first time I used it, somehow it was like comfortable. Like I didn't realize I'd spent 45 minutes in the shower. It was an accident. But my hair is feeling softer. My skin is feeling softer. Everything is just so great. And the under the sink one, I've tasted it. It tastes amazing. This water, like I'm a huge water person for years and years. I've always been really picky about which water I drink. And I love drinking it with my under the sink filter. It tastes fantastic. And so I've even seen a couple of people in our audience have been buying the whole home systems. And I definitely think that's the way to go. I know Lance has shown interest in getting the whole system for his house too. And that's the way to go. Like Nelson is talking about, it'll help your washing machine. It'll run your dishwasher. I mean, just in your whole house, you could have living water, which is really cool. I'm just so excited about this. I love this. So
let me share something with you guys. When you put our system in, you forget about it. Forget about it. 5 years, 15 years, you don't touch the system. You don't add salt to it. You don't look at, I got one I put in 8 years ago. I don't know where it's at anymore. My wife keeps putting boxes around it. It cleans itself. It takes care of itself. And all you got to do is enjoy the water. And bottom line is, you're what, 70% water? You sure want to put good stuff in you. And I'm telling you, it's a game changer. Dogs can't get enough of it, and they can smell water. I got a husky that goes nuts over the water. Huskies got noses. That's what gets those dogs in trouble because they can't stop smelling things. And it will drink the water before it'll eat a piece of steak. That's how much they go after the water.
All right, I got people already asking. So go to lancewallnau.com/water. Mm-hmm. And I want you to save 10%. Just use the promo code LANCE, LANCE. And I got the doc here to give us 10% off. That's Century H2O is where this company is. Go to lancewallnau.com/water and put that code in there, Lance, to save 10%. Now, this you said to me something. I only got 1 minute left here, but I want to get a quick answer. You said people that drink your water are thirsty for more. I don't understand. Why is that?
Because it's clean. There's no bottled water. They have to put chemicals in the bottled water so that you don't get the bacteria growth and all that in it. Okay, that's your bottled water. The water that you go through an RO, it fills you up. Have you ever been able to drink a whole bottle of water, Lance? Have you ever been able to drink a whole bottle at one time?
I'm not sure I ever actually was motivated to. What happens?
You can't. Your body fills up it gets full. When you drink our water, you know those red cups, the 8-ounce red cups?
Yeah.
You can sit down and put down 2 or 3 of those at a time without even thinking anything of it. Your body craves it. Your body wants clean products in it. That's the difference.
Wow. Well, you know what? Do we have it yet in the studio here? Do we have it yet?
we have it. We're actually going to video you installing it and trying it. That's why I haven't put it. That's why I haven't put it in. I have it at my house and I love it. It's fantastic.
All right, we'll do a live video of Lance. Hey, listen, if my plumbing skills can install this, then Nelson, anyone could do it.
Lance, I got 70-year-old women putting it in.
Oh, don't make me feel bad. Now I'm going to get compared.
It takes them 30 minutes. That's it. 30 minutes.
All right.
And if
we'll make that a live Facebook for everybody to watch and laugh at. LanceWallnau.com/water. Use Lance code for 10% off. We got the Water Doctor signing off. Thank you, Nelson. I'm going to bring you back
Lance.
after I do my studio installation.
Yes.
God bless.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends.